Sup? Welcome. Here's the new studio. Everybody give hats off and congrats to Joel. He did this part himself, honestly. This is really sick. I'm really liking what you did with this place. But
Thanks, man.
yeah, you guys have probably, hopefully by now, already seen the video of the walkthrough of the new shop. Grand opening Monday, January 30th here in Ontario, Ohio. Super stoked, man. I love that we have this facility now to ourselves. Everything's in the same building. Don't gotta walk across no frigid tundra anymore to film stuff. And soon we'll be able to shoot out back as well.
Very few people want to understand that, Doug.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm so excited because soon we won't have to go like all the way over to Joel's house to do shooting videos. We can just do everything right here. Don't have to worry about forgetting stuff. I'm super stoked on it. But anyway, guys, thank you for sticking with us through all of this and this whole new transition. We really appreciate you guys being around. Definitely put in some orders online, help Daddy Joel recoup the cost of buying the place here. But yeah, we'll catch you after the intro and keep giving you more of an update. I'm so free. All right, so what's the first order of business here, Joel?
Well, you know, it's just, dude, it's been a long time coming with this freaking store. It's been 2 months of hard work every night, pretty much, 12 hours, 12 hours a day, basically, to get this thing. And I'm just happy that we have, like, an actual studio.
Me too.
We've been telling people for how long?
We've been telling them to hold on, I want to say since, like, September.
Yeah, something like that.
Like the pseudo studio.
Something like that. So surprise, guys! It's here. It's. I wanted to bring you guys something that we could be proud of, and instead of just like a white background and a white table, something that we could really be professional with and everything else like that. So that's what this is. And for anybody that comes in the store, love to do some YouTube content with you guys. But yeah, Doug, I think that this is going to make the channel more interesting and make the channel a higher grade than it was.
It's a vibe. I think it's just a vibe.
Yeah, I was trying to set the vibe, did a lot of research on what we want to do with the studio and everything else like that. Changed up the lighting, changed up the backgrounds, changed everything up and everything else like that.
Now it feels like Joel's trying to seduce me every time I come back here.
It is very dark in here for people that don't understand, and it's very low lit. So it doesn't look like that on the camera, but it's relatively dark.
It's not abusive on my eyes, so I actually appreciate that.
That is true. At the old studio, it was
bad.
Yeah,
it was a lot. But yeah, so no, I'm cool with this. So
Doug, we decorated with some Punisher stuff.
We did. We have an old Punisher Shocker. Sorry, not Shocker. Ion over here.
Ion, Virtue. Let's do it.
I can totally get it off without.
You can without making it fall.
This is sick.
So this was a trade deal with Mike Gilbert at TPA Paintball here in Alliance, Ohio.
I know TPA.
And he used to do a lot of speedball business, and we traded some gear for that. So that's actually been just hanging out in a box for a really long time. So I'm happy to showcase it.
It was in the glass case at the old place.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
It was out there, and we got a tank over there. What is that from?
So this was gifted to me by Ren. Shout out to Ren. He lives in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And this was, I think, given to him by actually Tim Montresor. So
was he an OG Punisher? With Ryan in it?
To my knowledge, the way I was told is he coached the original.
He coached, okay.
Semi-pro Punishers when Moorhead was on, and some of those other Heat guys. So, but yeah, so we have this like pristine PunishersPB.com tank. So that's really cool.
With the old logo.
It was made custom run, and it's in mint condition.
Yeah, it looks like it was never taken to the field, man.
Ren was really nice and just showed up with it. He's like, "Here, I want you to have this."
It only makes
no use for it.
It only makes sense, right, that it comes home to the people who are still running this whole show.
Something that I want to do, Doug, and I haven't really said this much, but something that I want to do is, like, Punishers has a really rich history, and something that I wanted to do with this new shop and everything about it is like incorporate the old history with the new history. And since I've brought it back from where it was. And being a top 5, top 10 retailer, back in the day, for sure, to now. And
a lot more competitive now.
Yeah, more competitive than 5 years ago. But needless to say, like, I wanted to take some of the old history, incorporate it with some of the new history, because there's so much that people don't even realize. Like, Punishers is, by far, in my opinion, has the most swagger of any of the retail businesses.
We're the most fun to hang around.
Well, true. But I'm saying the most history behind it. Like, when you look at some of these other retailers, like, they have history, but like Punishers is like,
we're actually in paintball. We have teams. We've always had teams and a program that's like alive in some way.
And very much involved with other brands within the industry and everything else like that. So I wanted to honor that from the original owner, Rich, to my good buddy Colby that had it in between Rich and I, and now having it, like, I've been so blessed. Like, people have given me so much cool stuff, you know, and like I have.
Where's that jersey? That somebody gave you a Moorhead jersey.
So that's actually out there. We do have. This is Mike Gilbert's once again. So Mike and I have gone back and forth, but this is actually the original semi-pro jersey.
Nice, dude.
So it's got Gilbert on it. We have Ryan Moorhead's jersey out. So funny story with the Moorhead jersey.
I was there for this one. I remember from
Okay,
Cup, right?
yeah. So literally, I'm at Cup. I'm walking.
Cup 2020.
Cup 2020, and hopefully the guy that gave it to me is watching this, but basically I'm just walking down the thing, and I saw he was wearing this, and he was playing, like, I don't know, 10-man or something like that.
Yeah, some kind of mech or something.
Yeah, and he's wearing it, and he's like, yeah, Ryan's my good buddy, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, that is so cool, like, you know, would you be interested in selling it? Like, if so, how much would you want for it? And he's like, dude, and he literally took it off his back.
Middle of playing. And
literally took it off his back, was like, I want you to have it.
Yeah.
And this is like, honestly, for the most part, I haven't paid for any of this stuff. It's just been like the kindness of the paintball community coming back to me and be like,
we know the store, so this is where it goes.
Yeah, we know where what Punishers was and what it meant to us locally here in the Midwest. And we wanted to come back to you. So I really do appreciate that. So
probably one of the only non-actual Punishers pieces of memorabilia that's up here is this Lux up here, but I just like hearing Joel talk about the story of this Lux, so I'm going to make
so
him tell
this
story.
Is like part of the new history.
Yes,
so part of the new
era.
history, even though it's an older gun. So part of the new, and there's probably a lot of people that don't even know I have this, but so this is a 1-of-1 Lux, but this was actually split. Colby and I split the payment on this thing. Right when Colby bought it, he he bought the business, and I'm with him at an MSXL event in Kentucky, and this was like 2018, maybe 2017, and we're at the Lux booth, and Craig Martin, shout out to Craig, one of the master techs at DLX, works there full time. If you send a Lux to him or a shocker, it's probably going to be repaired by Craig. But Craig's like, hey man, I'm trying to sell this for Moorhead, and I want this amount for it, and between Colby and I, we split the price, and probably could get what we paid for it, but at the time it was a lot of money, like way more than we thought it was worth, because at that point OLEDs were still a thing. Now OLEDs are really hard to get your hands on.
Right. Well, here's the thing. There's a reason that OLED in particular is like super special.
That's correct. So
not only was it Moorheads, but
so this is a 1-of-1 Lux, and the reason, and true 1-of-1, not just like Anno, call it 1-of-1 or 1-of-2. So this is gray, and the reason it's gray is because it's actually covered in the ice coating. So this was the prototype gun used by Moorhead for a full season to prototype the ice coating on the Lux Ice Bolt, and now any of your future Luxes, so the Lux X and the Lux CM40 have that coating on it. It's a low friction coefficient. But this was the first.
They did that to test the durability, right? Because he's like the hardest.
So this is a 2.0 OLED core. But anybody that's seen a 2.0 OLED core knows that it's not this color.
Yep.
So this is ice coating.
Yep.
So it shoots absolutely money, it shoots butter, and a lot of people know it as the Punishers Lux because for a long time there I was using it.
Yeah, you were.
And I decided to put it up before I did some dumb shit with it and like took a bad big man dive and bent the frame or something. So I did put it in retirement. There's not many guns that I do put in retirement, but I did put this one in retirement. And these stickers have been on this damn thing since I bought the company.
They can't come off at this point.
Yeah, and maybe I should send it to Tyler at Aesthetic and just have him just
seal them in or whatever.
Yeah, just anno
into it. Yeah.
Yeah, anno a skull into it, but I don't really want to mess up the anno and this thing is beat to crap. But needless to say, that is part of the history. That I guess we never really get to talk about, and that stand is about ready to fall off. So, but yeah, so that's really cool. So we have, I tried to pick and choose the memorabilia for the studio. I'm sure that we'll probably change it here and there. Yeah. Product highlights and all that stuff for, as we get stuff in, and then
maybe decorate for holidays or something.
Build. So yeah, we'll get a Christmas tree. So. What else should we talk about, Doug?
There's been a lot of shakeup in the NFL. I really want to talk
God.
about this NXL stuff, dude. Like,
We're getting right into it, man.
So I think from what little I've just seen, move alert. Thank you to.
I watched the
Let's Talk
entire thing
Paintball.
last night.
You watched? Okay, so I watched a little bit of the Alex Ragey part, but basically, I don't know where AC Diesel got money. I think they either joined the mafia or like struck oil, because all of a sudden they're just paying players, and they're like, so.
Specifically, Mark Johnson.
Is he like? Okay,
Yeah,
so
he was the one that. You said that you didn't get to watch all of it, but he actually got on last night, and dude, it was hilarious because they're like all talking about like, dude, everybody was on this podcast. Like J-Rab's on the podcast. Dave Baines at one point tried calling in.
Wow.
This guy Quinn that does Iconic Paintball, he's on there, and Bear the Digital or whatever, he was on there. It was crazy, but. So basically, to summarize, like there was a lot of discussion about like Sarge and Bart, the owners of Heat and Impact, and how they kind of control how much people are getting paid. Mark Johnson comes in from AC Diesel out of nowhere and was like, "I'm gonna pay people
like
too."
The older dude, right? Like the
older dude, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, absolute baller, and he just like, "I'm gonna." Freaking throw a wrench in everything, and that's basically what he said. Is like I'm gonna throw a wrench in it. So it's kind of interesting because like something that they talked about was like having a union to protect each other's like what everyone's gonna pay, because there's such variance on the pro level of one guy gets 80,000 and the next guy gets 10,000 or 20,000.
Right.
But I think it's kind of interesting because like all the other major sports, like these guys are getting paid.
They can live on what they like, so they can just focus on being an athlete, which that's been probably one of the toughest things about paintball, and I think I still am on the train of if we really want that to take off, we need outside paintball sponsors, like we need Nike, we need whatever, like other companies to put money into it. But the pros getting paid, I think, is a hugely needed thing, and it like.
I think we
need more guys like Mark to just jump in and decide to do it.
Yeah, I think the problem is though is like in my opinion. We've got it all messed up because, like, in my opinion, it's unsustainable to have, like, these super rich owners, right? So, like, any other major pro team, those guys, like Mark Cuban from the Mavericks and, like, all these guys that own professional teams, they're using it as a freaking investment. Mm-hmm. It's a freaking money funnel for the NXL. These guys are not making money off these pro teams. And, I mean, like, if they've got ownership in the NXL, that's one thing. But then, like, some of these other guys, like you saw it with Lion Saints last year, like, big promises, Mouse, 100,000, J-Rab, major money. I'm not sure if it was how much it was.
I don't know what he was supposed to make.
But, like, you get all this freaking money, but, like, it's because this guy's rich and he just wants to spend money on paintball. It's not because like he's ever going to see an ROI on that. Mm-hmm. And from a business owning perspective, like that can fucking bankrupt you pretty fucking quick. Like I don't understand how they're doing it, but I wish, like, dude, you guys call me. Like if I'm doing something wrong and there's major money in pro paintball, then we'll have a Punishers Pro team.
If there's something, at that rate, I'll make my pro debut.
Yeah, because last time I checked, for all the lower tier teams specifically, like it's a money funnel. Like you spend a lot of money on these guys, and
I heard something. I knew some girl who like dated Cole Roberts for a little bit or something. She said, "Hey, he makes like $30K or so off of X Factor." Which I was like, "That's actually like more than I would expect."
Yeah.
For a non-Heat or Impact team, like $30K, it's a nice.
But then you look at it. But then you look at it from Alex Rodriguez, the owner of X Factor, and you go, okay, well he's paying him $30,000. Like, what's he getting out of that?
Right.
Even if they win the event, I think they win like $10,000. That's split across all the players, $15,000 or whatever.
Alex Martinez, not A-Rod. A-Rod's a different player.
Alex Martinez, thank you, not Alex Rodriguez. But yeah, Alex Martinez. I mean, he has the stability of X Factor Paintball Park.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that's a lot of what funds them. Kind of like how Infamous, like their retail and their store and all that.
But what about pro paintball funding itself? Pro paintball funding itself, meaning like you have to pay to be in the stands. Every other college / even professional sport, you have to pay to be in the stands. You have to watch it, or if you're going to watch it on TV, outside ads, right?
Yep.
And I think that's like the big picture that was not even discussed. Is like everyone's like, that's kind of what made me mad with all these pro players is like, yeah, okay, that's great. Like, you guys are talking about getting paid, but like, you don't care where it's coming from. You just want to be paid.
Right.
But the health of the sport is relying upon like something happening on that front as far as like.
And that's the thing. So you mentioned
money coming from.
So you mentioned how with these other pro sports, like they are their own money funnel, right? And it's its own thing that they use as an investment. I think one of the
ticket sales.
And I don't know how we would get to this, but I think the thing is they all have a central stadium that once, like obviously you have to pay the mortgage on that and pay to get it made, but once you pay that off, that's operation costs and the rest is profit. Because people are paying hundreds of dollars to go to an Eagles game, right? Yeah. And it's like that stadium has been around long enough. I'm sure it's paid off at this point. So now it's just every season they make what they make with all the ticket sales, all the concession sales, and all that. But paintball stadiums, like no one's gonna fund it. I would love to see somebody fund that, right? Because then that would finally be something that we own, right? You talked about it with owning this place. You want to own something because then you actually have stake in it. That becomes the investment. So I think that's going to be one of the outside of getting sponsors. I think that's going to be one of the big pieces is just having a stable place that it happens that can kind of become its own revenue source.
That's a good point.
With the ticket sales,
and
with the concession sales.
For sure. I had talked to somebody significant in the league, like really, really, really at the top end of the league. And I told him, I was like, it's the real estate. Like that's where, in my opinion, that's where it's at. Is like if you own the real estate, then you can kind of dictate what happens instead of like having to mobily move the shit around.
Yep.
Like if it's like you said, 5 different events every year, it's the same location, like literally the exact same location, but you build it out.
Funnels into that, yes.
Yeah.
And build it out, yes.
Yeah, and then maybe for the rest of the season, use it for something else, right?
You could rent the space out.
So that's why I never understood about, like, I spoke with the same person about it being at a field.
I just had an idea for when you're done.
Okay. Go ahead. You seem really excited.
It could be, so growing up, back in PA, there was this thing called 422 Sportsplex or Sports Complex. It was just a big bubble. Now this could be whatever. It could be indoor, outdoor, whatever, but it was used for all kinds of different like sports and agility training and all this kind of thing. If the league were to own, starting with one facility like that at all other times of the year, other than the event weekend, was just a general training and agility and sports league hosting type of place, there's your year-long revenue and income to keep costs down for other things, right?
Yeah. And
then we have somewhere that we can consistently play, and then over time you could build that out to be in different locations.
Yeah.
So that you can still get the variety of events for all the divisional teams. That's the thing. This wouldn't be able to happen instantly, and that's going to piss a lot of people off. It would have to happen over time, but there you go right there. Like it's got a purpose for the rest of the year when there's not an event there. It's making its own money, and yeah, that.
The other thing too is like I'd be curious to get some opinions like Chris Rangel, who's just doing Bunker Fest this year.
Shout out to Under.
And shout out to Chris. Chris reached out to me last week about us trying to go down there. But I'd be curious to bring him on and like have a discussion with Chris and see like what he thinks about it because there's definitely got to be sustainability and there's got to be money, but like the money in my opinion right now is coming from the wrong place. It's coming from these like super rich guys that have made money outside of paintball. Like even look at Diego Santos or whatever.
I forget his last name. But Diego from Latin Saints. His
right.
family had the oil money or whatever, but then he was cut off from it. I will say though, Joel, in mainstream pro sports, they're all owned by billionaires.
They're all owned by
money
billionaires
outside of sports, but then they make money off of the sport.
Exactly. That's the difference. Is like it's not costing them money; they're making money.
So what you're saying is it needs to stop being something that comes benevolently out of the hearts of rich people. Instead, they need to try to make money off of it. That's all I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, that's my take on it for whatever it's worth. But who am I? Forever D4.
I think we're onto something with the idea of getting some kind of building or facility or piece of property that is owned by the league to start with. I think
that's one thing that I said to this person that was very significant is like I was like, if you own that, you have positive equity in it, you have a stake in it, and that matters over the period of a long run. Mm-hmm. And like you said, use it for cash flow purposes other times. I also brought up the idea of doing a field or just doing it at a field, because like in the PSP days they were at fields sometimes. And for those of you that, wow, I'm really old, but I have to explain this. For those of you that don't know, PSP was the league before NXL And yeah, so that was like pre-2015. That's really bad. That's 8 years ago, dude.
I mean, the NXL
there's probably a lot of people on here like, what the fuck is a PSP?
Well, the NXL was around forever ago, right? But it kind of like went
It was actually
for a bit.
it was actually
one.
in competition with PSP, at some point. Yeah, and then you also had NPPL, which was 7-man. So, but you know, like they would do it at Fields. Fields is a great example too, and but I've also been told that like guys don't want to shut down the field for a weekend of open play, which I think is like ridiculous. Like, why would you not want an NXL? Like, if I'm a field owner, even if I'm okay, say I don't make as much money, but the exposure of people coming and everything else like that, like
I feel like that would be worth it. But a lot of them, I think, just don't see it.
Yeah, and Chris is having his Bunker Fest at Giant Sports down in Texas.
Okay.
Which is where the NXL had Dallas last year. So I guess they did have one event, but the rest of them was mobile. So like it's a logistics issue of like transporting all that shit.
I think it was all the minors for the NXL were at established fields, and then all the majors were at the typical grass field they just purchase out. But
I don't know. It was an interesting conversation last night. There's a lot of heated debate.
Fraigie's pissed. I don't care what he says, but because that's the part where I because I was listening to it on my way here, and that was when I had to get out of the car. But it was I feel like toward the tail end of Fraigie bitching at Spica, but like he's big mad.
He was big mad.
Do you think that Spica purposely took Dalton with him, or do you think Dalton made his own choice?
The way that sounded to me is that Dalton made his own choices because, according to multiple people that went on there last night, he was shopping otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of crazy to point all the fingers at Kyle, even though like Kyle didn't really come back and defend himself too well, which that's fine.
He
like,
made it look super shady.
He seemed super easygoing about it, but one thing that I will say is like there was never more than one mention of bringing Dalton on the channel, which I thought was like, why would you not hold? I don't care if Dalton's like the best real player there is, like. You still gotta hold him accountable, and they can't point all the fingers at Kyle. Because the problem for me is like, I get why Alex is mad, and I get that. Like, I get frustration. I mean, I've been in that position where I run a program or did run a program, but needless to say, like, I get that. I get the frustration from Alex's perspective, but at the same time, like, Alex is pointing all the fingers at Kyle, and now everyone's like, well screw Spica, and it's like, well, Spica's. Like, it doesn't sound like Spica directly went and tried to get Dalton, and it sounds like Dalton was looking for other deals too, so...
I love how Fraigie couldn't goes, like, you never move anywhere by yourself, you never go alone.
I don't know. Here's what I will say. If I was a professional paintball player and I was playing for Dynasty and I just won, like, 4 of the 5 events...
3 World Cups in a row?
Why are you leaving?
Like, why are you leaving?
If you can't get paid from paintball, there's enough time during the week to get paid doing other shit.
I was gonna say, even if
like, I have a full-time job outside of this, you can get paid if you work hard enough.
So do I.
And like, I have never been a Dynasty fan, but all this stuff that's going on with the league right now, and like people just throwing money around, you know, with this new thing with AC Diesel and everything, I'm really starting to respect the lower end teams. And really, the only higher end team that's not throwing money around is freaking Dynasty.
Yeah, no, none of them get paid a whole lot. I think it's because they have to invest into F1 or whatever, and then that's kind of where they make up what they don't make in their Dynasty check. I think it's kind of how it goes.
It's a smart business move on Dynasty's perspective to start a gun company because like I would assume they're probably writing some of the stuff off. Plus they could use the profit, and and then when they're winning, it's a huge advertisement. Like I've never seen so many people at the Field 1 booth until after Dynasty beat. What was the one that you watched at Cup? Heat?
That I watched at Cup.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was like their first match.
Yes. Yep.
There was a
lot of back and forth.
Yeah. But at Cup, and like I walked around to the Field 1 booth afterwards. It was packed. There was a line.
Yeah. Well, that and dude, I think their whole thing with the Hormesis stuff too is really helping blow it up.
It is for sure.
Ollie coming back. By the way, do you think Ollie's going to stick around, or do you think he's going to disappear again? Isn't he like evading like credit cards or something that he that he didn't pay or something? Like,
who knows?
He just shows up.
What do you think, Code? Is he staying?
He's out of here.
He's out of here.
We'll see him in maybe 5 or 6 years. We'll see his kid come.
Yeah, we'll see how Dynasty does this year, and if they don't do well and they need help at Cup, then. But it's so funny because like they did so well up 2 cup and they still brought him on. It's like, I don't even know if they needed him, honestly.
Yeah,
Literally just it's just for
Fame.
the for
Fame,
the
hype.
for the cred. Yeah, just for
They
the,
just wanted to get
They wanted
Ollie
hype.
back, bro. Why not,
Yeah.
right?
they just wanted the hype. They wanted
It
the
was-
4.
Why not?
Oh,
right?
that's why everyone, because they were playing Heat, and it was the first time that a lot of people have ever seen Alfred play.
in person. That
Yeah,
I think was my
that's what
first
it
time
was.
watching him play in person, Joel.
There
Yeah,
you
that
go.
was my first time ever. I didn't even know who he was.
I've always known who he was, but I wasn't like I didn't have a way into the tournament scene because unfortunately, tournament paintball you kind of got to know someone to help you get into it a little bit, and then you start meeting people, playing on teams, going to events. But I didn't attend and watch my first NXL event until Atlantic City 2018. So and by then he was out for what 3 years or something. 3
Yeah,
years.
something like that.
So yeah, like all I knew at that point was footage of Ollie Lang. I didn't see him in person.
Yep, good old Oliver. No, I think he's gone. I think he might come back for Cup, but he
They play Heat, maybe.
he seems a little out there something. But I don't that guy is not sticking around the US to play paintball. Not anymore at least. So
The real question is, why would he cry through it all just to come back for the first
Did he?
event? Dude, he cried during every national anthem, at the end of every game, almost probably in the middle of every game. But he was just crying everywhere.
I
Like,
didn't even notice
I didn't see
that.
that.
On every photo.
Maybe it's because he hasn't played paintball in forever. He's out of
that,
shape and
or he's just
That wasn't him crying. That was his
while
fat
they're
crying.
giving the national anthem though.
I don't know.
The guy's like, damn, I need a
Paintball's
burrito.
emotional, man.
I'll be curious to see how Dynasty does this year.
Yeah, I'm not predicting good things.
Oh, I am.
Yeah?
I think they run
Top
it back,
5.
bro. They run it
Top
back.
5, guaranteed.
Yeah. I want to see how, more importantly, I think it's going to be interesting to see how Diesel does because they've got these key
Bunch of
players now.
stunners.
So we'll see. You know, I'm also kind of curious, like, another team that kind of lingers in the background always is Baltimore Revo.
I was literally just going to say Revo. They are always like, listen, my dad was talking about like certain football teams that they call them black and blue teams. They won't beat you maybe every time, but they will leave you beat the fuck up.
The
Like, which-
Steelers.
Yeah.
They're just like the Steelers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
They're
they're
gonna come in, beat
really
your ass.
freaking good, and they're always right on the edge.
They're
they have close
consistent.
games
That's the
and
thing. They're
everything else like
consistent.
that.
I feel like maybe they just need
So-
1 or 2 more breakout attackers or something. Like just someone else to
Yeah.
break games open for them.
Yeah, but then like if you think about it though, like technically Dynasty is not weakened. Technically, I don't think they will be, but I think that Dynasty is technically a little bit more weakened this year. And then you've got AC Diesel, who's like stronger than they were, but then like, are they going to be a top level team?
They were always consistent too,
So-
but yeah, they were never quite in that upper echelon. Did Ben Challenger leave them?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But the other thing is, like Mark said, it's like a 3-year plan, and he didn't anticipate picking up this many people all at one time. So there's that. So like,
But
he
if they
said
get some wins under
picking
the
up
belt,
another
that'll,
one.
that'll help momentum too.
Yeah. Well, he say he wants to pick up another player next year. So like, there's that too. So,
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. It's
Ryan
gonna be exciting.
Greenspan. Come to the AC.
Listen, I give Greenspan. I've never been crazy about Greenspan, and I in the last year have become a huge fan of Greenspan
Loyal.
because he's loyal. Like he really is doing what's best for Dynasty, and like the dudes obviously could do offers anywhere else and everything else like that, but you know, he is never going to leave Dynasty.
Never.
And I freaking respect that. I really do. And that's something that, like, I wish some of these other guys would just, like, pick a team and
Stick to it.
stick to it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I also get, like you're traveling and working hard, dieting, exercising, like, you want to get paid for all the effort you're putting into
Yeah,
it.
you want your return on your investment.
So there is that side of it, too.
And I have hope that it will level out and that like it will be more of a livable salary for a dude. Like this is over a lot of time, but like I have hope that it'll get there so we won't see as much bouncing around. Because there are teams that have lifers. Obviously, you got the core four with Dynasty. You got a bunch of the Heat guys that were the old Philly American guys that like they're never going to leave. Like they're like Moorhead and Chad George. They're going to retire Heat players. Like,
Probably.
No
Probably.
shit.
So.
Yeah. Otherwise, a lot of these other teams, not a lot of. It seems like there's a lot of loyalty. Especially Impact is like the Yankees. Like they're paying people and they're in and they're out. Like they might be there for a while. Like Goldman was the face of Impact in my opinion for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's not with them now, I'm like, dude, he must have been getting something sweet, or maybe Bart was pissed at him.
That's actually part of the
video too, right?
video, but you know, go watch that if you guys haven't.
It's Spanish show.
It's a little spicy, but yeah. So if you guys like the content that we talked about, hope that you guys like and comment. all that stuff. And if there's anything else like that you guys want us to talk about, like new studio, open to new ideas. Obviously, we're still going to be bringing you guys plenty of product content and all that stuff. Yes, we have this random M3 Plus, but we were trying to test the light in the studio, so that's the actual reason for it. But yeah, guys, hope you guys really, really like this new studio. It's been a lot of work, and you know, if you guys are local, I hope you guys stop in and check out the new store. And Doug?
Go Bucks. He said it all. Come see the new store. Just come see us. Leave ideas in the comments of what you want to see. Tell us what to do with the stupid shower in the back. We need to do something funny with that.
And as always, shop at punisherspb.com and leave a
like, leave a comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. And check the link in the description.
link in the description, baby. Let's go!
And always play more paintball.
I'm so free.